Welcome to this video on understanding assignment questions. This is really important whether you're looking at an exam question or whether it's an open book assignment. It's really important to remember that writing is a process with different stages, beginning with thinking and planning, going on to reading and researching, drafting and redrafting, and finally editing and proofreading. But it's the very first stage that we're going to look at here, because this is where you set your direction for all the rest of your work, and this is the stage that can actually make or break your piece of writing. So let's have a look at an example. Here's an essay title that somebody might have been given perhaps in business studies. It says, critically discuss the major factors that influence the pricing policy of exporting companies. That's a lot to take on in one go, so here's a process that you can use to break it down a bit. It might help to ask yourself these three questions about your question. First of all, what's the topic? What's the general area that you're being asked about? Secondly, what's the focus? It's rare that you'll be asked to write generally on a topic, so you'll be given a specific focus, and it's important to identify this. And thirdly, what's the instruction? So let's look at how that will work with the example that we had earlier. And here it is again, critically discuss the major factors that influence the pricing policy of exporting companies. So the topic of the question is the pricing policy of exporting companies, but we're not asked to talk about that in general. We're asked to take a specific focus and look at the major factors that influence these pricing policies. Okay, and then thirdly, then we have to look at the instruction that we've been given, and that's here, critically discuss. It's really important to understand what your instruction words mean in the question. There are a number of them that you might be given. These are some of the commonest, but there are other ones. It's important, if you're not quite sure what the instruction word actually means, to look it up and to be really clear about that, because that's exactly what you're being asked to do. It's quite common for questions to have more than one of these instruction words, and here's an example. Discuss some of the changes and trends in family life in Ireland over the last 50 years and outline two different sociological perspectives on the family. We have discuss and we have outline, so we can already see that there are two parts of the essay that we're going to have to write, and it's really important to make sure that we cover both of these. The good thing about this is that a question like this gives us a real clear structure as to what we're going to write. So without doing any reading or research, I already know that this essay is going to look something like this. Change in trend 1, change in trend 2, change in trend 3. There could be more or there could be less. And then on to our perspectives, perspective on the family 1 and 2. This gives me a really clear plan as to what I have to do and breaks it down into nice manageable chunks. So finally, just remember to give this stage of writing enough time, even if you're working in exam conditions. One of the commonest mistakes that students make in writing is to write everything they know about the topic rather than answering the specific question that they've been asked. So invest a bit of time in really understanding the question, and you'll be well on the way to producing well-structured and focused writing.